Alive.
talk
There we
about
go.
stuff and drink beer and all of that kind of good stuff. So here we are. It is it's November. Christmas is upon us, so therefore it is time to destroy our livers. Alan, tell them how we're going to destroy our liver.
Okay, so Shane and I are going to do the Parallel 49. It's a wonderful time for a beer advent calendar. 24 unique beers, all from Parallel 49 in Vancouver. We're going to be posting, I think, a video a day.
Unless we,
I don't know. We have to work that out.
Die.
We actually don't even have the advent calendars yet, but we're going to do that tomorrow, and then we're going to start.
We're gonna prepare we're gonna start drinking nothing but water for the next 2.5 weeks.
Yes.
8 gallons a day, and our livers should be ready by the time we get there. So it's gonna be exciting. We've missed the advent
maybe it won't be exciting.
No. We might find a lot of duds, but we will tell you when we drink them.
Yeah.
So Locke, are you gonna do an advent calendar of any kind? Doesn't have to be a beer one.
No, I think I'm not. I just don't see room for that this year. I think I may be following yours.
All right, very good.
I will tune in.
Today, actually, we'll start with Locke. Locke, what beer are you drinking this evening?
I'm not drinking beer.
You're drinking spirits. I apologize.
What I'm drinking is engine oil.
Nice. That's not concerning at all.
I have
engine
questions.
Oil.
So who makes this engine oil? I love the bottle. It's amazing. So who makes this engine oil?
Engine oil.
Is it Castrol?
No. It's Italian.
Breaker State.
It is engine gin.
Oh, nice. Engine gin. So, are you mixing it with anything this evening?
So far, no. So far, I've just been. I think this is a sipping gin. This is.
Have you had it before?
No, first time.
Okay. All right.
Totally a new one on me. I think this is a genius idea.
Totally. The thing is, you could keep it in the car.
You see the play on words here. Engine.
Yeah.
Nope, that's brilliant.
Engine. So here's the QR code for anybody who wants it.
Okay. Can you show the front of the thing again? Is there? Okay, I was thinking that was sort of like a one of those hazard logos down at the bottom.
Yeah. We have one of those up the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I found their website.
Ingredients: water, organic wheat alcohol. So they specify the type of alcohol. How rare is that? Organic distilled gin, organic wheat alcohol, water, organic juniper berries, organic lemon peel, organic licorice roots, organic sage,
all right,
organic rosa damascene, and organic natural flavors. So aside from the distilled gin, so they've taken gin and distilled the gin. To that, they've added organic wheat alcohol. This is a complicated sounding recipe. I think it sounds complicated, but also cool. And I find it fascinating that in a tin that looks like this would probably be motor oil, that so much of it is organic. I don't know why that is, but I will just go ahead and say that I like it. So let's see what the blurb says here. Yeah. All right, blurb. Sage and lemon is a traditional Italian digestive. Engine is an organic gin produced in Piedmont and Italian up to the last drop. Featured by a well-balanced taste thanks to the perfect match between citrus notes of lemon, the bitter fresh finish of sage leaves, and licorice roots. Perfect to be enjoyed on the rocks or mixed with tonic water. Well, I don't have rocks, so I'm going to go get them right now because I've been drinking it neat. Let me go
okay.
get some rocks.
He's getting rocks.
You gotta get your rocks once in a while. It's just how it is.
But you see what I mean about sipping gin? This is sipping gin.
Okay. I want to know, can you get this in BC?
Well,
I don't know. Let's see. Products, ingredients.
yeah, rocks.
Very good.
You'll note I'm using a colored glass. The liquid itself is like most traditional gin, a white spirit. So not much to look at there, folks.
Right.
I will later be trying it with tonic just to see how that goes.
So, oh wow. Okay, sorry. As a nerd, I wanted to see. Oh, I killed my share. I wanted to see how, because you see this website. It looks fancy. It's it's got all this fancy 3D animation stuff and all that kind of crap. But I wanted to see how accessible it is, and so when you run an accessibility checker over websites, it gives you kind of a score of sort of between 1 and 100. And then usually websites come in at about say 80%. Usually there's a few little fixes here and there that you can make it better. This website is 17% accessibility rank.
Yeah, the idea is very clearly not for it to be accessible. Otherwise, it wouldn't cost $50 for one of these.
What?
What?
Yeah, this ain't cheap. But it is
wow, I had no idea. That's amazing.
Well, look how much they spent on marketing and image. So clearly it's worth it.
Yeah,
right?
well, exactly. So
now that said, how's the beverage?
Yeah.
So they said a lot of words about their gin. If I were to taste this and side by side it with, let's side by side it with Bombay Sapphire. Let me get some.
Which I do have actually, or no, I don't have Bombay Sapphire.
Well, hell,
I do not either.
What the fuck did I do with it? Oh, there it is. I got it ready.
Music and sound effects. Oh, that's just not
somewhere. Awesome. What did I do with it?
You probably drank it.
No. I didn't drink it. Yeah, here we go. This is Bombay Sapphire.
Okay.
Okay, first thing about Bombay Sapphire, straight out of the gate, it's very dry.
Okay.
This doesn't have sweetness exactly. What it has is a lemony, floral note that I suspect is the licorice and the did they say basil leaves?
Really?
Juniper leaves. Well, we expect juniper, don't they? No. Hold on, wait. Sage. That's what we're looking for. So, do I taste the sage? Look, I'm not a chef. Don't necessarily know sage from thyme, but if you're saying that there's something lemony and herbaceous about this, whereas this is, I'm going to suggest maybe more juniper forward.
Right.
Okay.
And as I say, a touch drier. There is something to the recipe. It's not as though they're just saying a bunch of words at you. This does taste sort of like something. And I will go ahead and admit that I think it's very good. Being slightly above 40% gives it just a little bit of bite if you're used to your hard bar. I like that. Not that there aren't competing products out there, but this all in with a like a really, I mean, the lead is the image. Everybody gets that. But do they produce flavorful Italianate, refreshing tasting gin? Yes, they do. So you were asking, what is a craft spirit? I gotta say, I think this ticks the box.
Yeah, sounds like it. And I think we have a question for Locke in the chat.
Oh. I have balls. A martini is a fine idea. And then Geneva Gin versus London Dry. What say you?
I like to travel with my gin. It's like coffee. It's not one of those things where only one culture got it right. Your Holland gin, your London Dry, and evidently your Italian gins, all sort of, variations on a theme, yeah, but good things to say about many of them. Now, have I ever had a bad gin? It's a good question. As a Scot, there's something in me that says that there's nothing wrong with Gordon's because it's fucking cheap. But look, back in the 18th century, because I like to go there, William Hogarth, famous printmaker and painter, did a scene to great popularity. It was a coupled pair of Gin Street and Beer Lane. Beer Lane was a good place with happy, robust folk. Gin, it was like a bunch of crack addicts, and the only thing thriving in the whole scene was the pawn shop. So gin has been held circumspect as a danger and a moral worrier. And also was one of the linchpins of empire, because without a gin and tonic, how the hell do you defeat malaria?
Without a gin and tonic, you can't. It's you're dead after that. Malaria just will take you immediately. So you must begin drinking gin like as soon as you figured out that you've been infected.
Speaking of tonic, lest I get too drunk too fast, I think it's time for me to toss in. I'm this evening using Fever Tree's Light Tonic.
All right.
Let me just check the ingredients here. There's no fucking stevia in this or whatnot. No. It's just a little less.
I want sugar now.
Just a little less sugar. That's it.
All right, Alan, what are you drinking this evening? Wow.
All right. So I'm having a beer that I can't remember if we've done on the show before, but if we did, it was a very, very long time ago. So Vancouver Island Brewing, as some people might remember, did a rebrand maybe about 6-7 years ago. And they refreshed, quote unquote, their beer lineup. And one of their main beers at the time was discontinued. And that was Herman's Dark Bavarian. Right. So it hasn't been around in that long. Well, until this week when it was put out again. And this is it here in the can, Herman's Dark. They don't say that it's Bavarian, but it was back then. I'm assuming it is now. On the can, it says, easy to return to and hard to forget. This Bavarian dark lager is smooth, mellow, and effortlessly drinkable. First poured in 1984. It's been a part of the Island's craft beer story from the very beginning, which is true. This thing won tons of awards back when craft brewing was first getting started. I was sad to see it go. It's 5.5% alcohol, and right now is available in these 355 ml cans, which I think is perfect. I already poured one. There it is in glass. The head was quite a bit bigger when I started. It tastes like it did back in the day, from what I recall. It just tastes like a dark lager.
Okay.
It's really good.
And you are thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh yeah, totally thumbs up. It's exactly the way it was back. It's remember when we used to go with Pipers from Pipers Pale Ale from Vancouver Island Brewing back in the day, quite a bit. And then we tried it again a number of years after, and it just wasn't the same. This holds up. This is the same, and it's delicious, and I think it's here to stay. So I can have this not all the time. I mean, probably Fat Tug is still my go-to now, but this is comes in a close second. Now, if I was to compare this to another beer, although not a lager, but a dark beer, which is Hoyne's Dark Matter, I would say that Dark Matter is actually a better beer than this, but still pretty good.
Excellent. All right. Well, tonight I am watering my inner garden with a gin that I think everyone should have. It is called Water.
Okay.
Mainly because prior to us going live, I already had a couple of beer, and I feel that I needed to pause, sadly, for the show.
So, do your thing, man. Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, because I was visiting Julian, friend of the show, and with his new his latest batch, and I unfortunately
about that, please.
Julian, please remind me what style of beer. It is a Pilsner.
It was that good. He doesn't even remember what it was.
It was a Pilsner. He doesn't have a name for it. So Julian, please come up with a name. It was very good, but I think it took me by surprise a little bit because I went shopping this afternoon, grocery shopping, and I hadn't really eaten anything. So I returned from a 2-hour stint with Julian. We made some food and drank his beer. And I after the first glass, I did that thing. You're like, oh, I was feeling it fairly strongly just after that amount. So Julian's like, yeah, damn, this is boozy. And I'm like, oh, great, awesome. So I think just the fact I hadn't really eaten anything properly until that time. Yeah.
It reminds me of the time when you and I were like 20, and we were over at your parents' place, and your dad pulled out some homebrew beer and said, "Here, have some of this." And then we went out, and we got I don't know 5 or 6 blocks away, and you were like, "How do you feel?" And I'm like, I think there was something in that beer. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, me too. I think we should turn around.
Yeah, I got destroyed that on some of that stuff that my dad had back in the day. Mm-hmm. But we have really important news today. The news is that we have lost Rogue Brewing, which is a
very sad
brewery in
Portland, Oregon.
And not a small brewery. I mean, this is a big for a microbrewery. This is pretty big.
Yeah, they unfortunately apparently owed $500,000 or just over that in rent. So they
That sounds
unfortunately,
like Portland.
yeah, they close. My sort of assumption is that they must have been behind on their rent and a few other things, taxes apparently as well. So they lost out pretty well. Um, and yeah, so they closed their brewery, their tasting room, their restaurant. Um, Julian has informed it's a Pilsner style with Pilsner malt Cascade hops, brewed with Einstein lager yeast, but at room temperature and not lagered yet. So,
Okay, got it. Yeah. So it's sort of an now. Would that make it sort of like a Kolsch?
I don't know. Julian, please
Or
weigh in.
sorry, no, Kolsch is the opposite of that, isn't it? Wouldn't that be a cold fermented ale?
Curious if.
So to be clear, I have attended their tap rooms multiple times. I lived there for 3 years, and so was a regular. There are a number of their drinks that I was very fond of. In particular, their barley wines. Yeah, I mean, so Portland in 1984, Deschutes and Spinnaker's opened. Who opened first? We'd be going down to months. I don't think anybody knows that.
Right.
But in '88, these guys opened as direct competition to Deschutes, and they've made some absolutely killer beers.
They have.
Yeah. We've had a few on the show.
They were pioneers at a time when pioneering was still a thing. They tried crazy recipes. One of the most amazing that I ever tried from them, because I've never seen anybody else replicate it, because it's such a difficult thing to do, is that they toasted the malt literally yards from where they put it in the vat and did a brew that way. Did it come out like it tasted different? Yes, it did. Was it better? Yes. Is it impossible to do on the regular? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, or at least nobody else has tried, or nobody's found an economic way to do that. But wow, what a result! These guys really experimented. They really put passion into the idea that recipes make a difference. That craftsmanship is more than just what are the ingredients, but how do you use them? And the flavors that they were able to compel out of grains, yeast, and fermentation were fucking kick ass. These guys really were the real deal. They were craft brewing. I don't know.
So what the hell?
I don't want to make competing claims here, but at its finest, they weren't better than. They were as good as it gets.
Yes, I agree. But so what the hell happened? I mean, I agree. Their stuff was killer. Now their stuff hasn't been available in BC here for quite some years.
Well, yeah, I think you can blame that on a few things.
And I don't blame it on them. I probably blame it on the import laws that got changed around 2017, 2018, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Look, there's been a whole lot that's changed in the last few decades, but in particular in the last little while, you can see why that would have killed them.
Yeah.
Because
mind you, we can still get to shoot stuff here.
Sure, and that's because Deschutes were less in the crossfire. Deschutes have a more mature, more diversified business in certain respects.
Another Portland brewery that I haven't seen in forever is Ninkasi.
I don't know what happened to Ninkasi. Can we check on that, Shane?
What happened to Ninkasi? How do you spell it?
NINKASI.
Actually, I did look it up earlier today. They are still around.
Okay.
But I haven't seen any product from them.
Yeah.
Lagunitas from California. I haven't
Look,
seen any of their stuff
Lagunitas
in a long time.
very good. Yeah. Here's part of the problem is that the trope of Portlandia's ZZ Top bearded, brewmaster is kind of retro at this point.
Yeah.
And it's not even retro in a good way. It's just too old for anybody to know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sort of like when I grew up trying to fucking understand what the fuck a bell bottom was. Like in the early 80s.
The hell's a bell bottom?
Like I would see pictures of people in bell bottoms. I'm like, okay, I've seen catalogs. I've seen people in school.
Craft
What
beer
the
has.
fuck am I looking at here? What is this?
Would you guys say that craft beer has somewhat become, maybe not here necessarily, but in some markets has become uncool?
Well, I'd say that there's certain aspects of the cultural tropes surrounding it that are certainly stale dated. there's a bit of that. I think there's a certain amount. There's a certain amount of the expectations of craftsmanship in brewing now that, frankly, has as a result of the craft brewing movement now being baked into expectations of beer generally. I think, amongst other things, of the many things that have occurred through the craft brewing movement, I actually think that your garden variety domestic mass-produced beer is likely better as a result. I think that overall, in terms of the fucking nauseating piss that was standard in 1992, where we are today is a better place for beer overall.
Yeah.
At least in North America. I don't know if the same is true for Europe, because I think in terms of the ancient craft, the recent craft movement has disrupted it enough that it's actually had a little bit of a detrimental effect there. A little bit. Which is to say that the stupid tropes that have become typical of craft brewing, and to be fair, I'm a lover of your high percent IPA, but let's face it, as compared to your bottle conditioned red ale that is supposed to achieve a certain perfect experience and a certain perfect flavor for a man whose alcohol tolerance is not so high that it's all just water to him anyway. That used to be an art, right? And when and in particular, when you reflect on, now that said, they're all, Belgian strongs have been around for a long time, and it's never been clear to me whether like the term stout has come to refer to mostly in the Anglosphere Guinness, which is a low percentage beer, but the word stout originally meant high alcohol content.
Yeah,
right.
Now, there's another thing that I wonder about, and that is when potatoes first became part of the brewing factor, because I mean the Reinskobold clarifies that if we're talking about beer is supposed to be made of barley, hops, and water, nothing else, because they didn't really understand what yeast was, and at the time, but Julian made a comment earlier that I didn't respond to, which I'm going to respond to now, which is to say that yes, you're right. I mean, what is gin besides vodka with juniper berries? Is there a difference when you start looking at different vodkas between grain vodka and potato vodka? And I, having tasted them, think that there is. Kind of the same way that I have this opinion about rye grain versus, mixed grain whiskey or as sour mash. There's all kinds of but the effects on the alcohol, or more importantly on the drink, are real. Is sort of my point. And so the ingredients in some point do matter. And so it would be interesting for me. So this is just a note for the future. At some point, I'm going to do some side by sides with a few different types of vodka, potato vodka versus, whatnot. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is more or less just vodka with juniper berries, or spirit, more to the point. Because if we're talking about raw whiskey is just spirit before it's being aged and cast and all of that. So again, this is speaking a little bit to the aging process in the craft of how you do spirits, because there's distilling and there's flavoring and all of that, but the aging process is a piece of it, and I think an important one.
No, I agree. I mean, the process of making any alcohol is, once you have perfected a particular process and you don't change or veer from that, then you get a product that you're happy with and hopefully other people are. But I got to say, in my experience, a lot of it is hit and miss, where it's like, I'm going to do this thing, but I don't know how long I should do that thing for. Like, or should I add X, Y, Z? And I think that's part of the fun of it, which is why I think that we've had such an explosion of breweries in the last while. But this is a segue into the sad tale of Rogue Ales. And now bouncing over to the fact that Vancouver Island breweries have won a bunch of awards at the Canada Beer Cup.
Which is notable, because Vancouver Island Brewing has had its own challenges in recent years.
True.
And
very much
kind of
so.
fell to stagnation a little bit.
Well, they were never quite niche enough to be, craft brewing, but they were never quite big enough to be a major either. So they were like a kind of an interesting regional business,
right,
to a degree. But they were always they always punched above their weight in terms of creativity. They always had some interesting ideas.
What awards did they win, Shane?
So, Rusted Rake Brewing, this brewer right here, from the News Bay, it took home the gold medal in the feature category for Western Canadian Pilsner malt with their Spruce Tip IPA. Fern and Cedar in Qualicum Beach snagged silver in the same category for their dried West for Pilsner, West Coast Pilsner, blah, blah, blah. Mount Aerosmith, which we've had on the show before, took bronze with their fruited sour in the category for the Weekend Rambler Mango Sour. Sorry,
Mount Aerosmith, nice.
Yep, and the Whistleboy Brewing, which is Alan is a fan of, they also won an award for silver in the contemporary sour ale category. So also category 12, also Hornby Island Brewing Company won for their West Coast Farm Saison. And Beachfire Brewing, which I don't recall ever hearing about, won for a gold.
I have
the Irish and
don't
Scottish
think I've had
ale.
any of their stuff, but I've seen it around.
So these all, so yeah, so Vancouver Island won pretty big in terms of all of the beer on at that was being voted on. The event
Do
took
you
place in.
think there is
Yeah, no, go ahead.
okay? Do you think now? I happen to know some of the background of this story because I spent a good deal of time talking to the Spinnakers folk and sort of their origin story, and so in 1984 there wasn't a craft brewing scene existing already. They thought that would be a cool idea to start one.
Right.
Right.
But when you think about Vancouver Island's position as an early British colony, which I think had some beer culture, and there's the 4 Mile and the 6 Mile pubs who presumably were serving beer back in the 19th century. Is it possible that Vancouver Island actually enjoys a little bit of a legacy of a deeper relationship with brewing than other parts of Canada?
Yes. I'm gonna go right out and say yes. Going back, there was Phoenix Brewing. I don't know when they started and when they shuttered. Lucky Lager, which is now a mass-produced beer, and it's not produced on Vancouver Island anymore. But it was made in Victoria.
That was originally a Vancouver Island thing, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Because I've seen Lucky Lager across the country, yeah.
Yeah. So Lucky was a Vancouver Island thing. And it was back in its heyday, like we're talking like the 1950s, that was craft beer.
That is true.
Not today, it's not. And certainly not when we were kids, it wasn't. But when our parents were kids, it was. And then Phoenix Brewing, I don't know what the story was with them. Went out of business many, many years ago. In fact, Vancouver Island Brewing not Vancouver Island, I'm sorry. Phillips makes a beer called Phoenix Ale, which is named after the Phoenix Brewing Company that existed way back when in Victoria. So yes, I would say Vancouver Island does have a unique history with craft brewing as it has existed in certain times in the past. Now that craft brewing may have been like, Pilsners or lagers or something like that. We wouldn't have found like.
Look, I'm thinking evidently back when horse-drawn carts were the mode of transportation.
Yeah.
People were serving beer. And I worked for one of the companies currently inhabiting one of those spaces. So at some point in the 19th century, people were showing up in ox carts at the 4 Mile and the 6 Mile pub.
Yeah.
And drinking beer. Who brewed it? Did they brew it? Probably. They may very well have. I don't know.
Think they would have had
the history that are actually obscure to me, but I might try to find that out because I still probably know some people there.
Well, like I say, I mean, there was Phoenix Brewing way back in the day. I'm talking like.
So when would Phoenix? Do you have like
Phoenix,
a date?
Phoenix Brewing was founded in 1920.
Okay, so this is somewhat later than.
I suppose it's possible that this stuff could have been brewed in, say, Vancouver and shipped over.
Could have been.
Sorry, who?
Sorry, back in the early days of colony, was Vancouver bigger than Victoria? I think there was a period where Victoria was bigger than Vancouver.
Victoria was bigger than Vancouver.
Yeah.
In fact, there wasn't a Vancouver, really. It was New West.
Oh, well, sure. And the fact of the matter is that the Vancouver Island was a colony long before British Columbia came into existence. British Columbia was a no man's land that came into existence because, frankly, Douglas, who had traveled up as a Hudson's Bay man from Portland, Oregon, because they were racist against his Caribbean wife, or no, native wife. It was native. He was Caribbean. Yeah, they were racist against his native wife. He moved up to BC, saw what was going on with the way things were moving, and was like, "Yeah, no, Hudson's Bay is backing the idea that British Columbia needs to be a colony of its own, so that we can, defend our native allies."
Further to, like, say, the gold rush, Victoria and San Francisco had a very unique relationship where there were shipments going between San Francisco and Victoria all the time. In fact, the Victoria phone book back then, when phones first came into being, was shared with San Francisco. There was a joint San Francisco Victoria phone book.
There was a very close call where there nearly became a new country called Cascadia. That California, Portland, Washington, British Columbia, and Alaska were all slotted to be part of. And it didn't happen, but when I was living in Portland, Oregon, I still saw Cascadian flags.
Oh, really?
I did, yes. And actually, if you look at the architecture, and this is one of the weird anomalies, is all the way from San Francisco all the way up to Victoria, BC, and in Vancouver, for that matter, you see this weird thing that the only other place I've seen it is in London, where you get pavement and then areas where there's actually space underneath.
Yeah.
And so instead of just doing regular pavement, they've done pavement with colored glass.
Yep.
And there's this weird empire of purple colored glass that goes all the way up the West Coast in that London style from a certain period of history. And that is the closest I think we ever engineeringly came to being one country.
Well, and another thing, I don't know if there's any kind of connection here, but you guys are familiar with the Johnson Street Bridge that existed in
Victoria.
There's an old bascule bridge. I was watching a baseball game. It was the San Francisco Giants, and right outside the San Francisco Stadium is a bascule bridge that looks exactly the same as the Johnson Street Bridge.
Because he was the one that originally designed it. Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, I mean, we have a lot of history in this part of the world. Not as much as the most other parts of the world, but I'm glad that we have a beer history we can be proud of. Go Cascadia! I wonder, how close did Cascadia come to becoming a reality?
Because that's a controversial question, and one that there's no real answer to.
It depends on who you ask.
Because it's sort of it depends on who you ask, and ultimately, we're talking what ifs. There's a lot that can happen when you start delving into what ifs. Might it have been a horse snail somewhere, but for a horse snail, a horse, but for a horse, the kingdom.
Had the gold rush had lasted longer, it probably would have happened. But the gold rush was kind of, it ended when it did. And
yeah. Well, all I have to say really in terms of the gold rush and and all of that is that tomorrow is the Grey Cup, and guess who's playing in the said Grey Cup? In Winnipeg against the Montreal Alouettes.
Oh, fuck. Oh, so now I'm conflicted. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, man. I got to support Winnipeg.
All right, so
Oh, yeah,
it was great having Locke on the show.
Well,
right.
So, what are the teams playing?
They're playing in Winnipeg, and it is the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes.
Okay.
Now, there is another upside for me is that it doesn't matter who wins because either way, I'm happy.
I'm not a football guy. Okay, so I've been seeing this. So obviously, Shane, you're a football guy. So apparently, there's like some new rules.
Of course, I'm a football guy.
Okay, but apparently there's some new rules for the CFL, and people are angry about it.
Well, there's suggested rules for next season, or no.
Okay.
It might be the following season, but anyway.
What direction are they headed in?
They want to make it
more
more
rugby-ish, or they make it more like fucking U.S. cunt football?
They want to make the fields unified as per size and the placement of the uprights. Which basically it wouldn't be entirely an NFL regulation field, but it brings it a lot closer to it. And supposedly the reasons is that the stadiums across the country where these teams are based out of are not the same. They're apparently some are different.
Sure, which I think reflects something of our history.
Yeah, so I think they want to unify the fields essentially. Whether the reasoning is kind of irrelevant in my mind, but to me it makes sense. I don't like the movement of the uprights because the uprights are where they've been forever. So I think that's more of an NFL influence, I think. But overall, I mean, when you really think about it, it's kind of a nothing
I
burger.
think we should be more, not less, idiosyncratic if we want to survive in the face of the fucking NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's definitely some things that
I think if we should be borrowing from anywhere, we should be learning lessons from rugby and Aussie footy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or baseball, like in baseball, like the dimensions of the fields are not uniform. There's different fields. Like the infield is the same.
Here's a difficult question for you. Is there a standard issue type of join between the wall and the field?
No.
Between stadiums? No, there probably isn't, is there?
No.
How about that?
The Yankees have what's called a short porch in right field, where if you can hit the ball just right, you're going over the fence. Meanwhile, in Kansas City, like it's almost impossible to hit a home run there.
How so? Like what's going?
It's just a really big field. But and then say Coors Field, which is in Colorado, because they're such a high elevation, the ball.
Yeah, but look. If you take this to its logical conclusion, yeah. Is it all right to place landmines between the bases?
Well, I mean, the thing is though, is that I kind of like that sort of stuff because it becomes. If everything is the same, here's the thing. The idea you lose stories.
That was a generation or four ago. Where we are today is we need to differentiate and specify in a way that's not political. And if we can figure out how to do that, we've won.
Even in hockey, you could, back in the day, you could watch a game on TV and know where it was being played by the.
We need new rules, is what you're saying.
In Winnipeg, in the old Winnipeg Jets arena from back in the day, there was this huge portrait of the Queen at one end of the ice. And it was unmistakable. I mean, when the camera pans to that end of that's what you see. You see the Queen up above the ice, and you knew the game was in Winnipeg at and it's probably still there in New York at oh my god, what's the name of the stadium that the New York Rangers play in? It's in Manhattan.
Couldn't tell you.
The main one there, Madison Square Garden. There's railings that are kind of in behind the glass, and they're kind of irregular. Like sometimes they're kind of like slanted up and everything. The character, it provides, it lends itself character to the place that you're playing that's different from any other place.
Yeah. Look, if you were a video game designer, you'd be demanding it, wouldn't you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, look, this is what the public wants, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what does the public want?
If you the kind of detail, the kind of look when you play your Mortal Kombat, you don't want the same moves for every fucking character.
True. And you don't, I mean.
Reptile should be like Reptile. You know, he shouldn't be the same as I struggle to find it. Remember,
I have that problem too. It's called getting old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
On that note, boys and girls, I want to close out the show. Let us raise a glass with whatever you have left. Allison, her ashes have been laid to rest in Regina, Saskatchewan, the other day.
Oh,
so to Allie, drink more beer. Drink more beer. All right, boys and girls, that is everything we have today. We will see you all next week. And of course, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be the champions of the 112th Grey Cup tomorrow night. So, yeah, we'll drink beer all week.
Cool.
Thank you, boys. See you all guys next time.
See ya.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to do the thing.
Do the thing. And the other